Hello, everybody. Welcome to Behind the Stream. I'm your host, Harris Rubenstein, and today we have a very special guest who's going to take us through his career in esports, a man who has gone through many transitions, going through a little bit of a transition right now. He just played for 76ers GC this past season for the NBA 2K League. It is our good friend Toxsik. Tox, how you doing, man? It's a long time no talk.
I'm good. I know. I feel like we didn't get to talk too much during the season, so I'm glad we get to do this now, so I'm excited for it.
Yeah, exactly. For me, I want to know, what was it that got you from just playing video games on your couch to getting into those MLG events when you were 13 or 14?
Yeah, it was a lot of steps that led up to that, man, honestly. I think just from the day I was born, I've just been a super competitive person, and I kind of took that competitive side from playing sports and into gaming. Like, as soon as I got into gaming, and I remember the first time I touched Halo, I just wanted to be the best at it. It was, no matter if it was like playing against my brother, like my friends in the neighborhood, I just wanted to be the best at it. And so once I finally heard about MLG and what they were doing, I knew I had to just be a part of it and feel it and just be a part of that environment. And I remember I went to my first one. I was 15 years old. I went to MLG Chicago, and I was hooked. Wow. I mean, I hooked. You know, you walk into the convention center, there's thousands of kids all like you playing Halo. It's a gamer's paradise, honestly. And I walked in, I knew, like, as soon as I walked in, I was hooked, and I really never looked back from there. It filled that competitive void that I guess I lost, with sports, and I've stuck with it ever since.
Yeah, at that age, during those summers, I was actually going to sports broadcasting camps, so clearly we both ended up doing what those summer camps were meant for. Right. Honest question, though, because I've never actually asked you this. How good were you at Halo? Like, I know you played in games, like, did you win anything? Were you any good?
Just like in 2K League, there's tiers and everything, right. You know what I mean? Was I day fry in the 2K League? No. You know what I mean? Like, there was guys that are they won a lot of tournaments at MLG. And back then, I mean, you're talking 256 teams, 4 people a team, Jeez. And they're selling out team passes in 5 minutes. Like, these were super packed events. Now, like, back then, though, if you were placing in the top 16 out of 256, that was very good. Like, wow. It was hard to do. And so if you placed in the top 16, that was considered professional. You would collect points throughout the season. The more points you get, you're seeded, and you'd be considered pro. So my highest placing ever was 12th. It was in the money. It was in the money still, but never won an MLG tournament, but was always competing against those guys. But if there was tier 1 guys, let's say like a Day Fry, I would put myself in that tier 2 range.
Did you? I have to ask this. Did you play against Ninja in an official tournament?
Yeah,
you did.
Yeah, all the time.
Did you beat him?
Time. Never beat him. I remember I played against him, and actually it was Columbus, Ohio. I drove 18 hours to Columbus, Ohio, and I played him and some of his friends. This was before Fortnite, obviously. And they beat us, like, I think it was 2-1 in the series. They beat us, and then next thing you know, Fortnite came out, and Ninja's Ninja. So
yeah, and obviously we've seen where he's gone since. And you've kind of taken I don't want to say a similar path, but you kind of crossed over games. Before we get into 2K, I think a big thing that I like to ask people, especially people in esports who got into a young age, like, what was the support from your parents like? Were they super into it? Were they like, video games, what the heck are you doing? Go outside. Like, what was kind of like their reaction to it when you told them how interested you were?
Yeah, I mean, I think like every parent, they kind of have question marks and there's gray areas with it. Like, how do you explain to your parents at the age of 14 years old, Mom, I want to go to Chicago for a tournament? She's like, absolutely not. Like, you're just not going. Right. And I cried and cried and cried and begged and begged and begged, and she let me end up going. And once they started to kind of see things for their own eyes more, and saw how legitimate things were. I think the development of esports in general obviously helped. I remember back in Halo, like, there was no Twitch, there was no live streaming
TV,
events.
Right? It was just
TV. It was just in TV, or they would upload VODs on YouTube. Like, there wasn't really like big time broadcasts like you're seeing now. And I remember one of the first things that really helped was, I don't remember the channel, but I want to say like USA Network or something like that had a show for Halo back in the day, like, that was following the MLG tournaments, and my parents would kind of watch that and see that and be like, wow, like, this is what you're talking about, this is what you're doing, This is pretty cool. Like, and so that kind of got my dad to want to go and check it out with me. I remember he drove me to Charlotte, North Carolina for one of my tournaments, and he actually stayed the weekend and he watched me play and everything, and he was like, damn, like, this is this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, I like this, and we've always connected on that competitive level. We're big college football fans. Like, he grew me up in the college football scene, so I've always been, I'm a diehard FSU fan. Unfortunately,
Yikes,
I don't want to talk about
recently.
it. We're not in our prime years right now, but like, we always connected on that level. And so I think when he saw what I was doing with gaming, he saw how competitive it was, and he felt it for himself, and he knew, like, okay, this is cool. And my mom is a teacher. She's been in the school board for 30 years. So with her, it was like, look, as long as you're going to school, you have good grades, you're a good kid, it's not messing up your athletics.
Yep.
I don't care if you play.
That's good.
And
that's responsible.
And I took care of that stuff first, and then gaming was second, and I made time for both.
Why did you get out of Halo? It sounds like you had a lot of love
Yeah.
for it, and you're pretty good at it. Like, I know the Halo scene obviously went through like a pretty tumultuous period, but
Right.
like, what happened?
Yeah, I mean, I still love Halo. I'm excited for the new one that's
it's
dropping
great,
December
yeah.
8th. I'm super excited. I'll be on it. But I think, like you said, Halo kind of just it made a turn for the worst. After Halo 3, the game just wasn't really the same. The competitive scene wasn't really the same. You started to see some Halo professionals kind of turn over to Call of Duty. You saw guys like Formal, Crimsix, Enable, other guys, Kenny. There was so many guys that they kind of made that transition over. MLG ended up dropping Halo, and it just didn't have the same spark to it. It didn't have the same feel to it. The community wasn't as big. The game wasn't as good. So, and also, like, I was getting a little bit older.
Mm-hmm.
I had been doing it since I was 14, and then by that time now I was probably, 18 or 19. Just graduating high school, I had gotten a basketball scholarship to play basketball down in Miami at a school. So, like, my focus kind of switched.
Right.
And I was so focused on basketball and sports, and just the scene kind of fell off, and I just kind of left it behind, and I've missed it ever since. But hopefully with the new Halo, we'll see something.
Yeah, maybe we'll see the return of MLG Tox. That'd be great.
I don't know if my thumbs can move as quick as they used to back then, but we'll see.
So obviously, it's been a lot of time between Halo and 2K. You go to college, you
Yeah.
have the scholarship. How did you end up in the NBA 2K League in season 1? Just like, that's a crazy kind of 3-year turnover.
Yeah, it was wild. Really, it's funny, like, going back to Ninja, honestly. Like, I used to watch Ninja on Justin TV play Halo Reach. And I remember just watching him, and he was so funny. And I used to say to myself, like, damn, like, I could do this. Like, I can be in front of a camera and play the game and be entertaining. Like, I love talking to people. I love socializing. I love networking with people. And so I remember, like, telling myself going into 2K17, it was, like, I'm going to just give it a try. Like, I'm going to try streaming and see where it goes. I started on my Xbox. I played music off my cell phone.
Yep.
Like, I read chat off my iPad. Like, I had the most, like, low tier setup you could possibly have, but I had fun with it, man. And, like, and that kind of got me into it. I slowly upgraded my stream setup a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And I never even played Pro-Am like that, honestly. I was a big park guy, a big stage guy. And then I remember some of my viewers, they would come in and they would say, hey, did you hear about this 2K League announcement? And I was like, no, what is that? And they told me, about what it was. And I just thought in my head, like, coming from a professional esport in Halo, I was like, there's no way. Like, there's no NFL and there's no NBA in 2K esport. Right. That's not a thing. Like, that doesn't happen. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll believe when I see it type thing. And then, they kept bugging me about it. They kept bugging me and bugging me and bugging me. And actually at the time, which is pretty funny, some of the main guys I played Park with back in 2K17 was Perfusion and Bash.
The legends.
Which was known as Quavo back then. We used to play threes all the time in Park. And none of us had played Pro-Am. And we said, you know what, let's have some fun. Let's play Pro-Am. And we played Pro-Am together. This was like right after the 2K League announcement was made. I decided, like, let's get into MPBA and let's try it out. And we tried it out, and we made a deep, very deep run. Made the Final Four, beat some really good teams. And then I kind of fell in love with that, man. And I was like, let me do the combine for stream. I think it'd be good content. My viewers like to see it. It'll be fun. And I went in as a sharp, and I just killed it. I think I averaged like 31 points, like 6 assists. I had like the second highest shooting out of shooting guards. Like, I still didn't think anything of it.
Right.
I mean, honestly, I remember getting a phone call. Like, I got the email that, like, you made I forgot how they did the cutoffs. I think it was top 250.
Yeah, originally. It was top 250, then it was top 150.
So I remember getting the email. I was one of the last emails, like one of the last batches I could send out. And I was like, wow, like, okay, maybe I have a shot at this. Now, still not thinking too deep into it. And then I did the interview stuff, and I knew I would do good in that. I knew I would do well with that stuff. And I remember they started doing the phone calls, man, and, like, I was asleep, and my phone was ringing, and it was from New York. And I was like, these damn spam phone calls. Like, I'm not answering these damn spam phone calls. And finally, I got a message, and it was Daniel on the phone, and he left a message saying, "Hey, man, congratulations, you made the NBA 2K League." And I was like, "Oh, whoa!" I texted him like, "Yo, call me back." He called me back, and my mom was at the door freaking out, and I was like, it didn't hit me till I hung up the phone, man. I was like, wow, like, I guess I made this thing. And even then, like, you still didn't, like, at the time, it was so in its infancy stages, like, you didn't even know what that meant.
Right.
You know? And then you hear about the draft, and, like, you hear about all this stuff, and unfortunately, I didn't go to the draft. I had a draft party at my house with grandparents and friends that I grew up with and all this type of stuff. And, you know, it's a funny story. I remember doing my interviews, and I tell my grandpa, who's actually from Cleveland, Ohio, grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, hasn't been there in probably 30-something, 40-something years. I tell him, look, if I get drafted by the Cavs, I'm going to fly you to Ohio with me.
Oh, wow.
And I get picked by the Cavs. They're all freaking out at the house. I fly them all out. And it's crazy that where I was staying in Cleveland was literally like 2 miles away from where like my great-great-grandparents grew up in Cleveland, where he was from. Like, and I had never seen that. And then to be able to experience that with him was man, super dope. And obviously being in now from season 1 to season 4, like, just seeing how much it's grown, how much it's changed, and how much the league has done for me and other players and everything. It's been a wild ride, man. It's something, you know, I love, and I'm going to continue doing.
Now, you've been in the league now for 3 years. 4 years. Wow.
Four
now. And you've played just about every single kind of role you have, which is, you know, helping out on offense, being the defensive leader, then kind of, you know, this season more of a six-man slash. I know you helped Jeff Terrell out coaching a ton.
Yeah.
You know, you've obviously been in both esports. Which one did you like more? I know that they're different, but like, which one have you really like found that you kind of attached yourself to more?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they both have their pros and cons. And like, look, at the time, like, I was a different person. You know, like when I played Halo, I was 14, 15, 16. Like, you know, you couldn't tell me a damn thing. Like back then, I was the best player out there, and I truly believed that in Halo. But without Halo, there's no 2K for me. You know, there's no 2K League for me if I don't have Halo. So I always got to pay homage to Halo and what it did for me and the people that, you know, I always talk about him, T-Squared, one of my good friends, Tom Taylor, who grew up not too far from me. Like, seeing what he did when I was at a young age, being on MTV, being on Dr. Pepper cans, like, he made it become a reality for me that, like, wow, like, you can really do something with this. And without that, I don't think I would have had that drive and that mindset and, like, the way I took things with gaming as serious if I didn't meet guys like that. So, but I love the 2K League, man. It's a whole different experience from what Halo is. To really be a part of an organization and feel like a part of an NBA team and see the facilities and go to games and like, there's no price tag on that. You know what I mean? Like, that stuff is just amazing to me. Like, being able to travel, like, you know, the Vegas event was super awesome. My first time being to Vegas. You know, the New York stuff, that was my first time going to New York. Like, that's stuff that it's just priceless stuff. And the networking within the 2K League, within the organization you're in, and then within, like, the league itself, meeting guys like you and BD and all these other guys. It's just, like, you know, it's awesome, man. So they both have their pros and cons. But, man, I'd probably give the weight to the 2K League a little bit because, you know, I've sat – in Halo, I didn't get courtside seats in the NBA
Well, you
game,
played with 4 different teams also, so you've really seen, like, every angle of it. You know, you started in Cleveland, season 2, you go to Orlando, plus the Grizzlies, and then season 3 was Orlando again?
Yeah,
Orlando
I was
again.
retained,
And then,
stayed with Orlando, and then Philly.
So 4 years as a player, you know, now you know, 4 years as a player, you're established, you got the brand, you know, your Facebook gaming partner. But kind of the biggest side that we haven't talked about is what you've been able to do with Eyeball, this kind of brand that you're building. You know, you call it the Eyeball Empire. So, two questions. This is kind of more a personal question for everybody else. A, what exactly is Eyeball? And B, why did you start it?
Yeah, it's a question that I could answer for so long, you know, but what it is now, it's gone through so many different phases and different chapters of what it truly is. To kind of give you the rundown, it started off as a 2K clan, and I hate saying that because I just hate that wording. It was something, honestly, to have some people be a part of a group together. When you get on and, like, you're a streamer, you have someone to play with. You know, you have guys that are repping the same name, and you're working towards the same goals. That's all it was at the time. It was nothing more than that. But then obviously I saw the development and the growth of 2K with the 2K League and just with content in general and the personalities within the community. And I honestly started becoming more comfortable with the community itself.
Right.
And I kind of saw that there was a void in the community when it came to, like, organizations. There's no true like org, and to this day, I still don't think we're there yet. But I wanted to kind of be the forefront for that. And I saw like with the 2K League, there was a great opportunity with that. And I saw with Twitch and just how much content in general is growing right now that there was a huge opportunity there with that. Mm-hmm. So I started to form it into a 2K organization now where it's a collective of talent and skill. Whether it's, the best pro-am players or the best casual park players, that I also push to do content and build our own individual brands, while at the same time we build our own brand, our one brand together.
Right. What is the next step for you? Because obviously you obviously have a lot of big goals with eyeballs, and I don't really know what your plan is as being a player, but like what are you kind of looking for next?
Yeah, it's funny, man. Like this question comes up after every season, and I'll be honest with you about it. Like I don't know, I don't know. I think this year was obviously it was a huge change for me. Coming in as a 6-man and having that 6-man role, I bought into it. I told Jeff that. I told the Sixers that I'm a team guy. Like, listen, I'll always be a team guy. I don't care where I'm at, who I'm playing with. I'm a team guy first. And I think you've seen that everywhere I've gone. But at the same time, I know I can still play, and I know I can still be very effective for a team. Yeah, I might be a little old, sure. Turn 30 in December, but with age comes wisdom, man. And I've been through a lot of situations in esports that a lot of kids in this league haven't been in. I've played in big games. I've dealt with some really hard teammates to deal with. And I think I've got the best out of those teammates, and I don't think a lot of guys can do that. I've told myself, look, this offseason I'm going to have fun.
Yeah.
Okay? I want to have fun. I don't want to be stressing about, like, who am I picking up, who's snaking who to team with me. I'm not doing that. I told Dave Fry, listen, like, you put a team together, I'll be your guys' 6-man, and whenever you guys need me, I'm going to come play. But let me learn from you guys as well. You know what I mean? Let me sit in and listen to things. Let's do film stuff together. Let me give you guys input. You give me input. And we've been doing that, and me and Dave Fry have a great relationship. And I'm going to really take this offseason serious with him and learning. And listen, like when you win back-to-back championships, you're obviously doing something right.
Oh, yeah.
So it's only right for me to put myself in that, around those type of people that, I've always been taught even at a young age, like if you want something, that someone else has, like learn from them. And so I'm learning from him and, be around a guy like Crush. I'm learning from him. So we'll see. As of right now, like I am focused on still being a player, but yeah, like I do have interest in making that transition. Like whether that's being a coach, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I actually love 2K22. I think it's a great game.
It's
fun. It's honestly one of the most fun. It's one of the most fun games I've had since 2K17. So like I think that helps. Obviously, it brings a little bit of a spark back. So I'm gonna play it and I'm gonna enjoy it, and then what happens after that, we'll see. But who knows? Maybe I'll be sitting next to you in Autumn and Dirk.
We're always looking for new people on that talent team. To kind of put a bow on all this stuff. It is such a different space now than when you started or when I started. Like even me, when I started in esports 3 years ago, even now it's so much different than it used to be. If you're, let's take you back. You're that 17, 18, 19-year-old kid again. You're trying to get into esports. You see somebody like you who's building brands and playing for multiple different teams, and guys like Scump who just keep on going. Like, how, if you're a college kid, where do you even start? Like, where can I break into this industry in a place that I'm going to enjoy myself and actually try to build something for myself?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing you got to do is kind of look yourself in the mirror and say what do you want to accomplish? Obviously the number one thing is find the game you love, because when you find the game you love, it makes everything else pretty easy to do. If you can't see a game that's successful and be like, I just want to play that because I want to be successful, it won't work. I loved Halo. I love 2K. So the things that came with it came naturally. So find a game you love. And dive in, get a feel for the community, get a feel for what it has to offer. Obviously, I think skill is a big part of being successful in any esport or any game you play. So learn the ins and outs of a game. The way I took gaming was literally the same exact way I took my preparation when I was a kid playing sports. I used to wake up and go to the gym at 6 a.m. and get shots up and work on basketball and weight lift and nutrition. I used to do everything I need to do to be a prime athlete and play college. If you want to be successful within gaming, take those same steps. You know, wake up, play the game, learn, watch people, be able to take criticism, be open to learn, you know, to ideas. Like, yeah, that's a huge one. And like I said earlier, like back in Halo, I didn't take criticism when I was 14, 15, 16. Like, I was a kid who ran around, got all the kills on the game, was like, I got the best stats. Like, what do you mean? It's not my fault, you know? And I learned as I got older, like, that's not a way to be successful. You know, you got to be a team player in everything. So remember that. So yeah, like, learn, be open to criticism, learn the ins and outs of the game, have fun. And obviously, like, in the day and age we are now, get into content. It doesn't have to be streaming. You know, find your niche in content. You know, one thing that listen, again, okay, I'm old, like, right? I'm turning 30. Like, TikTok's for the young kids, right? But man, like, I'm getting into TikTok. Yep. Like, TikTok is great. Like, the algorithm, like the amount of growth you can have on TikTok is insane right now. So, like, learn these social media platforms and use them to your advantage. You know, don't use one thing. Get involved in these things. Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok. Use all these things to your advantage. And, you know, just give it your all. Be a good person, be genuine, and see where it takes you.
I like it, man. Hey, spoken like a true professional. Spoken like a man who has gone through his fair share of transitional periods. But, Tox, thanks for coming in, man. I appreciate you doing this with us. This has been Behind the Stream. I'm Harris Rubenstein. This is Toxsik. Go follow him everywhere. Toxsik everywhere on Twitter, on Instagram, on Twitch. Tox, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.